chop all these siege tanks now. Those drones really desperately trying to run for their lives. There's Wednesday Night Starcraft.
vVv Gaming.
Game 5, FlawlessKalu will be spawning as the purple Terran player against vV Titans as the yellow Zerg Tall Dream Altar. One of the maps that was just so popular from GSL that it was introduced into the map pool, and I'm sure both of these players are very familiar with this map. The MLG version of the map does, I believe, have 8 mineral patches at the third base with the set of destructible rocks, so it's not exactly like the GSL version where there's only, I believe, 5 or 6 mineral patches and 1 gas, as we are now just simply waiting for the loading screen to complete.
Yeah, you did mention this was a GSL map, and I actually found it rather surprising that Blizzard adopted it as a ladder map. We see a lot of popular GSL maps, Crevasse, Terminus, as well as Taldream Altar, and I sort of really wish they just adopt those as the ladder maps rather than the silliness which might be coming in Season 3 for us. We'll see whether there are any sort of changes to those ladder maps which were proposed, but I don't think they're very popular as we are finally spawned here, loaded up, ready to go with Game 5. vVv Titans spawning as the yellow Zerg in the southeastern position. And we have Relentless Heroes down to their last hero in FlawlessKalu spawning as the purple Terran in the northwestern position. So this is about as far as these two players could spawn away from each other. I know Titan's going to like that. We'll see whether Relentless Heroes is going to be able to keep this one going and force a Game 6.
Yeah, so Titan, obviously the macro player, as you saw in the previous game. There are 8 mineral patches here. I just wanted to be sure. And I have talked to David Kim in the past about the ladder maps and how come he doesn't adopt more, say, from the GSL map pool. And he had made a lot of good and interesting points in that the ladder map pool isn't meant for professional players. In that, you know, you don't want people playing on, say, Crevasse or Terminus Ray if the players are in bronze, because then the bronze players are just going to hide expansions all over the place, and you know, it's just not fun sometimes playing a low-level play on a map like that.
Yeah, I think bronze players and the low-level players definitely suffer from, you know, macroing up a little bit too much, not having timings. I thought we saw a little bit of that in Game 1 with both players floating so many minerals and being so passive. But I guess that's definitely a good point. I think that it's actually pretty tough, though, for players, as we see Titan opening up with his pretty standard extractor pool off one base here. I think it's pretty tough for players to practice on, you know, tournament maps, though. We see so many tournaments using Crevasse, using you know, these GSL maps and these new custom maps, and if you don't have a team to practice with and dedicated practice partners, it can be difficult to get experience on those maps, since a lot of players, pro players, just ladder for experience, especially now that streaming has become popular. We see even some of the strictest custom game players streaming and playing on ladder, and they're just not able to get practice on those GSL type maps, and then forced to play those in these big tournaments, and just not a lot of experience.
Yeah, perhaps one day they will introduce a Grandmaster or Master map pool, which does incorporate those, but that's all just a pipe dream, as I do not have the direct ear of David Kim, although some people say I should. As much as I would love to, that is just not always the case, as a Marine will be able to shoot down this drone, already down to 11 hit points, down to 5, and able to escape, currently sitting at 6, and it will be just destroyed by a bunch of SCVs instead.
But he got that information. He saw the second gas, and you know what? That was a fake gas, immediately canceled by FlawlessKalu. So I love that play. Costs you so few minerals to throw up that refinery and say, hey, I'm going to come with some Cloaked Banshees at the 6-minute mark. You better rush for an Evo Chamber or rush for Lair and an Overseer. But now Titan's going to have a little bit of misinformation or incorrect information, as FlawlessKalu already like his play there, and we'll see what he actually transitions into. And it looks like he's going to be going for the same sort of factory and reactor factory Hellion opening that the previous teammate Optical chose to use against Titan, and I wonder if Titan's going to be prepared for it.
Right now, we do see that a Baneling Nest is coming into play, so I don't know if he really believed in the fast gas of FlawlessKalu. Normally, if you're expecting Cloaked Banshees, you don't go into a Baneling's Nest, So that Baneling's Nest, we'll see how many Banelings he does invest in. The spawning pool has completed the metabolic research, and we are now sitting on about 100 gas. So he will be able to get 4 Banelings rather quickly, and now a scanner sweep coming into play. So Kalu not playing in the dark at all, knowing what exactly that he will be going up against.
You say the Zerg players don't usually go for a Baneling Nest when they do scout Cloak Banshees, but that's exactly what they can do, is they can be aggressive and go for a Baneling bust when they think some late game tech is coming, and that's exactly what Titan's going to be doing here. Again, we don't often see it from Zerg players. They instead just try to get up the solution, get up an Evo Chamber and a Spore Crawler, and then macro, but Titan being aggressive here, sort of getting away from his macro roots, going to be going for a bust as we see a lot of Zerglings making their way across the field. Already 25 Zerglings and 6 Banelings, a 7th on the way, and FlawlessKalu with that money scan, able to throw up these bunkers and should be well protected as we see the bus coming in with these Banelings, able to take down the few buildings there, but FlawlessKalu with a great wall off, getting up that tech lab just in time, and now Titan might have to get up a few more Banelings to try to take down the remaining buildings for Kalu, repairing these few supply depots, and looks like Titan going to be going home and trying to macro up.
Yeah, so Kalu responding by getting another factory instead, and normally I would say that would be a smart move as you do not want those Zerglings pouring into your base. But it looks like, the Hellions will be making a move out that one supply depot on the low ground. That front door almost looks like a front door fail, but there was just enough room as the Zerglings are going to perhaps try to get a surround onto those Hellions, unable to do so. Hellions have a very difficult time against Zerglings, even off of creep, as soon as they have that metabolic boost, just because they move so much faster, and also Hellions, it almost takes like a full second for them to like target the Zergling before they fire. And I know a lot of the times the Hellions just like trying to charge up that little flamethrower, as the Zerglings now trying to get a decent surround here. It looks like 2 of the 4 Hellions will get destroyed, and now 2 Hellions once again returning home.
Yeah, and Kalu might actually go into some mech play here as we see the second factory up, and I'm not sure I like that on this map. It's going to be a long way to your opponent, so you're going to have to slow push across the middle with the way Titan style goes with the Zerglings and the Infestors, as you see him getting up his second base at the moment. He's really going to be able to slow down that mech play and counterattack with Zerglings, harass your natural, harass your third. So we'll see if Kalu goes into this mech play and has some success. He might just be getting out some Hellions and tanks. I'm not sure whether he'll go for the full Monty, go for the full Thor play, but we'll see. Just working off this one Rax at the moment, has yet to expand, and is working on Blue Flame. So we'll be coming out with a lot of Blue Flame Hellions.
Yeah, so mech play, but really that tech lab was added for that Blue Flame research, so perhaps he's trying to handle all of the Zerglings. Blue Flame research definitely helps, as 2 to 3 Hellions able to take down a lot more Zerglings, only requiring 2 shots to take them in. But Titan does also have a decent number of Roaches adding to his army. I'm still surprised that Kalu has not built a command center inside his own base, and now continuing to just run off of one base right now. And this is not going to be good news. I don't think that Kalu can really macro enough off of one base to slow down Titan at this point. And the longer this game goes, the more that Titan's going to have a strong economic advantage, especially mining from 16 mineral patches.
Yeah, Kalu might think that he is able to get up these Blue Flame and do a lot of damage. So we see a lot of Hellions out. He's got 9 of them. But these Roaches are going to be able to make quick work of those, and I'm not sure Kalu did scout that. So he's going to be able to take down some drones here, but he's going to lose all these Hellions, and that's quite the investment. As you mentioned, he does no expansion, and Titan going to be able to easily remake all these drones. He is down to 22 drones, so that's a low number for a player like Titan who favors macro, but he's on 2 bases at the moment. And he's coming out with another 8 drones right away here, as now we have Marauders and Blue Flame Hellions pushing across. No stim yet, as it's just started now. 170 seconds, and we see Titan being aggressive once again with these Speedlings.
Yeah, Titan still having a Zergling sitting at the natural expansion, and even though Kalu doesn't really care about that Zergling right now, since he isn't expanding, he cannot let his opponent know that he is in fact not expanding. This is just giving Titan too much information. Titan is now looking to perhaps clear off these destructible rocks at the 3rd base location, and we may see Titan running off of 3 bases, or at least getting another hatchery down before we see Kalu running off of 2.
Yeah, Kalu coming out with more and more Hellions and Marauders, so he's going to try to take on the Roach Ling army with these Blue Flame Hellions and Marauders, basically the counters for Lings and Roaches, but the counter for macro is macro itself, as Titan going to be on 3 bases shortly here. As you mentioned, the destructible rocks about to go down, and it's going to take a while for those Marauders to waddle their way across the field here. I imagine Titan, with his reinforcements off these 2, soon to be 3 hatcheries, is going to be able to hold this push, and it's not looking good for Kalu. He's going to have to do some damage here. It looks like he's coming all in with all of his SCVs.
Yeah, this is exactly what I said Kalu needs to do. If he is not going off of 2 bases, he just needs to bring everything, including all of those poor SCVs. There are still some SCVs in the back trying to train up more Hellions. The Hellions are the only units that can get to the party fast enough as reinforcements. Otherwise, that walking distance is just way too large. You can see Titan now scrambling to try to get enough proper defense. You can see drones now coming off as well, but those drones are going to simply melt away to those Hellions, and that's going to be a problem as the Zerglings now coming in straight against those SCVs there, and the SCVs just dealing so much damage just may be a problem, as I do not see enough banelings to really stop this attack here. And now in come the SCVs, roaches, both sides pushing through, and all of the Zerglings are getting absolutely torched.
Yeah, the roaches taking down just the SCVs, but they really need to target down the Marauders, as Titan giving an LOL here, and it looks like this is going to be a perfect timing for Kalu to basically take down all the forces of Titan. He's got a lot of Marauders left, 8 of them. They're going to be able to quickly focus down the roaches, and yeah, it looks like Titan is going to be falling here as a timing is available for Kalu. He was on 1 base there, did not look good for him, actually adding a Reaper to the mix, and wow.
Yeah, that's pretty much my reaction as well. I was thinking the only thing he can really do is just bring in those SCVs, and then when I thought about it more and more, those Zerglings would instantly just melt away trying to take down those SCVs. SCVs could also be on auto repair, and when SCVs are on auto repair like that, they start repairing each other, and it's like having early metavacs just because of the amount of damage they're able to absorb. 2 SCVs just repairing each other, Zerglings trying to claw away, and that gives time for Hellions to focus down and take down those Zerglings. When it was just Marauders and SCVs, or Marauders against the Roaches, the SCVs were enough to absorb a lot of that damage. Roaches only have a range of 4, and if the Roaches actually got close enough to try to shoot at a Marauder, the SCVs, as weak as they are, as little damage as they do, would have been able to surround, and SCVs surrounding a Roach, it is able to take it down. So yes, FlawlessKalu, keeping the hopes of Relentless Heroes alive now and bringing the series to a game 6.
Yeah, and I think Kalu, that's basically all he could really do at that point. So, I mean, you hate to see a game end that way. I know it's frustrating for a Zerg player to see all the SCVs make their way across the field, but you basically force him into that situation by not allowing an expansion. And what more can he do? He was able to take down Titan there. 2 more players left for vVv. We're going to have Angry and Murder, 2 Terrans. So it's going to be a lot of TVT in these final few games. We'll see whether vVv is going to be able to end it in game 6, or whether FlawlessKalu is going to be able to force a game 7.
All right.